You're watching Pyro Media Network.
We just keep on walking, but never really getting nowhere. It's like we keep on talking, but never really saying nothing. On different sides, on different times, stuck in a ways we ain't changing. Can't read your mind, and I've really tried. You won't let me in like we're strangers. Say opposites, supposed to attract, but we both can tell it feels off and shouldn't let it go. But somehow we fold, and it happens way too often. We're so different, we're so different. How can we ever we make it fit? It's just like we're so different, we're so different. I don't quite understand you, you don't get me. It's just like we're blinded by
Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience is fruitful. Please feel free to visit our website to find out how you can join our growing family. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. Also, share so others may enjoy as well. And we hope you would consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
We talk about justice, we talk about inclusion, we talk about empathy. But talking is easy because it costs us nothing. The truth is, we've become fluent in conversation and silent in action. This is Tammy's Take, where we stop performing empathy and start practicing it. Welcome to the show. Talking feels like movement, but it doesn't cost you comfort, control, or certainty. It's not change, it's performance. I wanted to start the show, and I wanted to start the show talking about somebody, a Black woman. Now, this is not a Black woman that most people like, right? Depending on where you fall on the political spectrum. This is not a Black woman that most people think about in terms of being courageous. But this is a Black woman that I hope, as I talk about her and why I'm talking about her in this show, I hope at the end of this conversation, you walk away from this show with what I intend for you to walk away with. And that is a deep level of empathy. And I hope it is demonstrated in the conversation I'm choosing to have and who I'm choosing to have this conversation about. And that Black woman is Candace Owens. Now, I know when I say Candace Owens, when you hear Candace Owens, those of you who may know me both personally and to know where I stand politically in some aspects may think, why is Tammy talking about Candace Owens? And what could she possibly say about Candace Owens? I started the show talking about talking and saying nothing. And if anybody right now in America is talking and saying something, it is Candace Owens. Because the premise of this show, where I talk about talking and saying nothing, I am talking about people who go to protests, who do the marches, who make the social media posts, who do the TikTok videos, who is on Twitter arguing with people. And when you log off your computer, when you close out your Twitter, when you log out of TikTok, when you log out of Facebook, when you come back home from the rally or the march, it didn't cost you anything. You don't have to worry about whether or not you will have a job. You don't have to worry about whether or not somebody will be online ruining your reputation. Because even in the talking that you were doing, you were very careful not to say too much, not to say the wrong thing, and to make sure to keep yourself safe. And then I think about Candace Owens. Now, irrespective of how you feel about her as a political figure, how you feel about her personally, we all have been witness to what has happened in this country to Candace's friend. She considers Charlie Kirk her friend. And the nature of her relationship with him, the speculation is unimportant to the conversation I want to have about somebody who is talking and saying something. Now, I've been watching Candace since Charlie Kirk. Candace's brand of commentary, her brand of politics does not appeal to me until Charlie Kirk. And since Charlie Kirk has been no longer here with us, Candace Owens has been doing something that I haven't seen the men who call themselves friends of Charlie Kirk have done. She has used her platform and she has used her voice to advocate for her friend. This is a woman talking and saying something, and she's saying something by putting her reputation on the line. She's saying something by putting her livelihood on the line, and she's saying something by putting her very life on the line. Now, why I say she's putting her life on the line? Because Candace is of the belief that her friend is no longer here, not by way of Tyler Robinson, but by way of the government, a foreign and a domestic one. And if we can watch what happened to Charlie Kirk happen on our screens, whether you watch that on your computer, whether you saw it on the television, whether you saw that on your phone, we watched an American get executed right in front of us, irrespective of what you feel about him personally, but we all watched it. And if you're going to be the person that says out loud, that's going to use your platform to say that you believe that the government, a foreign or domestic, is responsible for your friend's death, then you must know that that government, whether foreign or domestic, can also be responsible for yours. And even knowing that, she gets on her platform every day, advocating, talking about, and speaking for her friend. That's what it looks like when you have skin in the game. That's what it looks like when you are talking and saying something. What is the risk to you? What is the risk to you? If there is no risk, you are talking and saying nothing. Now, I want to switch gears from Candace to a colleague or mutual friend of mine, somebody talking and saying something. I'm friends with a woman. She is a white woman that works in the healthcare HR field. And she has been a part of my master classes when I was teaching them. She has availed of my products, the empathy scorecard, and she has read my book. She's come a bit of an evangelist around empathy. And she messaged me the other day about work. And I'm going to say, if I give you this example, this woman has lost two jobs, not one, two, behind doing the right thing, talking and saying something. The saying something that I'm referencing in this show is you actually doing something, putting your actual skin in the game. So she calls me the other day and she says to me, she says, I have been without power. She's on the West Coast. She's been without power. There was a storm and she didn't have power. Her kids didn't have power. It's been about 2 days. Now, this is happening in her personal life. And at work, what is happening is there is a Black woman that is bringing a complaint against a manager. The manager is a white woman. She is a white woman in HR. She starts to investigate the complaint. And based on her investigation, it is going in the direction of or supporting this Black woman's claim. Now, the white manager that she's investigating in this claim is her boss's favorite manager on the floor. And so because her boss is not happy with the fact that she is siding, because this is where the evidence is taking her. This is not her making a rogue decision to, protect and defend the Black women. This is where the evidence is taking her. So her boss is not happy that she is not doing what a lot of us who have worked corporate jobs, who've been in corporate America, we know how this goes. We understand how this goes. She's not doing the standard HR thing where the employee is ruled against and the manager is seen as not causing a problem. And then you know what happens. Then you eventually start pushing those employees out. So her boss says to her, well, I think you need to look at this differently. I think you need to push against this some more. So she says, I'm going to do this investigation. I'm going to be fair about it. I'm not going to make a decision. I'm just going to be fair. Sunday comes around. She's still without power. So she sends a message to her boss and she says, I'm not going to be able to come into work tomorrow. We've been without power for 2 days. We haven't had hot showers. We're running off a generator. I have 2 small kids. I don't even know if school is going to be open tomorrow. And her boss says to her, the office has power. You can go to work. And she says, I understand that, but I have children. I have animals. We haven't had power for 2 days. I don't even know if my children are going to have school. And her boss says to her, I don't care. You cannot call out because you don't have power. That's not a reason to call out sick. Now, this white woman knows immediately what's happening here. She knows immediately what's happening here. She understands what's happening because prior to this investigation, her and her boss had a really good relationship. She could call out for a dentist appointment and it wouldn't have been a problem. But because she's in the middle of an investigation where she's going to most likely be ruling in favor of this Black woman, her boss has decided she's not going to be good to her. She's not going to be nice to her. She's not going to be kind to her. So her boss says, sir, well, you cannot call out because of weather. You have to come into work. So she messages me and she says, I'm going to have to quit because I understand what's happening here. I'm being retaliated against because I'm trying to do the right thing. When you are talking and saying something worth saying, worth listening to, you got to have skin in the game. This woman is prepared to walk away from a job to do the right thing. Candace Owens is on her platform every day, putting her actual life on the line from her perspective to do the right thing. And from her perspective, doing the right thing is speaking up for her friend, finding out what happened to her friend, and not willing to stop until she knows the truth. That's what it looks like when you are saying something when you talk. I do the work of empathy. I've written a book about it. I've coached people about it. Empathy is my jam, and you'll learn that as we join together, embark together on this show. And what I tell people who ask me, what does empathy look like for real? Because empathy has become a tagline. It has become a word. It has become something that we throw out when we want to say that we're good people. But how many people know what the cost of empathy is? Because if empathy doesn't cost you anything, you're not engaging with it. You're speaking about it. You're not engaging with it. Empathy requires that we are present. We are present with other people in their pain. Empathy requires that we tell the truth. Empathy requires something from you. So when you're talking, when you're an ally, whether you're an ally to Black people, whether you're an ally to white people, whether you're an ally to gay people, immigrants, women, children, disabled, whatever your status is as an ally, are you willing to put skin in the game? Or are you just going to talk and say nothing? Are we just going to continue to talk and say nothing? I started at the top of the show talking about Candace, and what I said at the top of the show is that it doesn't matter to me what you feel about her. What you cannot take from her, is that she's putting her livelihood, her life, they have already ruined her reputation. Candace started being the darling of the right? Because she was saying a lot of anti-Black things. She was giving them an out for not being decent human beings. So it wasn't their fault. It was Black people's fault. It was Black people. She was very, very anti-Black, and she was their darling. And she was their darling until she decided to talk and actually say something. And as she's talking and saying something, she's putting her very life on the line, because you cannot believe that the government, and we know this government is not above it, you cannot believe that a government, either foreign or domestic, murdered your friend for his beliefs and for him voicing those beliefs. And then you come online every day. I don't know how often Candace's show is aired, but whenever she comes online, and then you come online every day to voice your belief that said government is behind your friend, you have to know that if you do that, you are putting your life on the line. I was watching her show today, and she says, I just cannot tell a lie. I cannot live with a truth and say nothing. How many of us say that we cannot lie until we have to lie to protect ourselves, until we have to lie to protect our jobs, until we have to lie to protect our wallets, until we have to lie to protect our reputation? Now, you may hear me say that and say, well, listen, in this economy, we got to eat, we got to live, blah, 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 blah. And what I say to that, and I want you to think about this, what I say to that is, if we all continue to live that way, to think that way, to behave that way, what changes? What changes? If we are all afraid of speaking the truth as we know it, speaking the truth as we have experienced it, speaking the truth, what changes? Because if we all decide the truth is not worth our jobs, our homes, our reputation, our cars, our money, what changes? We're going to go to a commercial, and we'll be right back.
Hey, it's Pastor Kim from It's Just Kim Live Show, and you're watching Pyro Media Network.
Hey y'all, it's Nicole D. Vick from Nicole D. Vick Live, and you're watching Pyro Media Network.
Welcome back to the show. Now, I want to say in this show that this was not about guilt. This is about growth. Because empathy asks, what are you willing to give up for what you say you believe in? What are you willing to give up for what you say you believe in? I shared that story about my colleague and my friend who is willing to give up her job. She's willing to give up her job because she believes that what is happening to this Black woman in the workplace is, one, because of racism, and because it's an abuse of power. Her boss or her manager was abusing her power. And rather than stay in a corporation, do its bidding at the cost of another human being, irrespective of race, but race is at play here. But irrespective of race, she was not willing to do that. She was not willing to do it. So I want you to think about, what are you willing to give up based on what you say you believe in? What is your conviction? And I'm not here to tell you what it should be. I'm only here to ask you, what are you willing to give up for what you believe in? And this is a question. I think we're at a juncture in this country. I think we're at a juncture in this time. I think that is the question we all have to ask ourselves. We do performative strikes. We do performative boycotts until we just have to have a latte, until, Target has the Stanley Cups, until whatever shows up in whatever place we say that we're boycotting. What are we willing to give up? Because empathy asks you that. Empathy requires that of you. What are you willing to give up for what you say you believe in? Or are you just willing to perform? Are you just willing to perform? Performance is what got us here. Performing to be good people. Performing to be kind people. Performing to be people who care about other people. We performed it for so long that we think it's real. We think that's who we have to be. But I want people to think about, what are you willing to give up? Candace is willing to give up everything, and she said as much. My friend and colleague has given up a job in this economy. In this economy, where people with master's degrees are having to take entry-level positions. I saw a video the other day of this woman saying, I have a master's degree from Cornell, and I just accepted a $15 an hour job at McDonald's. This is the time that we're in. So for somebody to say, I'm not willing to do what every other white woman in this role is expected to do and have done, I'm not willing to do that. I would rather be employed and find another job in this current economy. She was willing to give that up in this current economy so that she can do and live out her values. Because that's what happens when you have real, genuine empathy. Empathy requires you to be with the person in their pain, not to view their pain away from you, but to be there with you. To see that Black woman come in the office and to know what is happening to her, to know it, not to imagine it, not to guess it, but to know it. Know what's happening to her and say, I can't be party to this hurt happening. I can't be party to another Black woman being railroaded in corporate America by a group of 3 other white women. I won't be party to that. And so if that costs me my employment, then that's what it costs me. And I want us, as we think about our lives, as we think about, am I talking and saying nothing? And have I been talking and saying nothing? Words are great. Words are great. And sometimes, depending on who we're talking to and who the audience is, sometimes our words can lead to change. But we have to follow our words through. We have to follow our words through to get to change. It can't just be that this is what I believe, but this is what But I think we're in a time now in our country. I think we're in a time in this generation that we have to move from just words to actually doing something. Doing something. Right before the election of our last election, I'm on social media like the rest of you. I have a platform on another platform like most people. And I can't tell you how many videos I saw, how many people that came online and said that they were voting for Kamala. The polls said that they were so. They did all the exit polling. And then when it was time, we saw that people actually did something else. So if what you're saying isn't followed through by your action, if what you say is different from what you do, you are talking, but you're saying nothing. And I think we need to move beyond just talking. We have to be saying something. We have to say something with our vote. We have to say something with our wallet. Some of us will have to say something with our physical bodies. We have to say something with allowing our reputation to be ruined. We have to say something with allowing ourselves to be not invited to the party, not to be inside the in group. We have to say something. And sometimes that means it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you. But we know what the price is if we continue to talk and say nothing. The price is we get the country we have now. It doesn't feel good. A lot of us who were saying and doing nothing is why immigrant families are separated. It's why come November 1st, there are going to be families who are not going to be able to eat. Now, by the time you see the show, hopefully, hopefully that is not the case. But if we continue to live in a society, in a country where our empathy is nothing but verbal diarrhea, the things that we say, but not followed by the things that we do, we end up here. And God forbid, worse. God forbid, worse. What do we see happening right now? There's a lot of Black people saying to white people, we've been fighting for everybody from the inception of the civil rights. Now you have to do something. Now you have to fight. You white folks, you get online and you tell us you have empathy and you care and you're an ally. What are you willing to do? What are you willing to do? We're in a time now where we just can't keep talking. We have to be in a space of doing. What are you willing to do? What are you willing to say? What are you willing to give up? Who are you willing to lose? What are you willing to lose? Like I said, I admire Candace Owens. I don't have to agree with her politics. I don't have to agree with her positions. But there's something admirable about watching a woman willing to risk it all because she is living her values. And your values don't have to be hers. I don't think Candace and I share exactly the same values on a lot of things. But I will tell you, watching her live her values at what could be the cost of her life has made me think about, am I willing to do that as well? Am I willing to live my values, even if it costs me my life? Because the truth is, I didn't agree with any of Charlie Kirk's values, but he did, and it cost him his life. I didn't believe in his values, but he did, and it cost him his life. Candace, like I said, I probably don't believe a lot of her values. We probably don't share a lot of values, but she's willing to live her values, even if it costs her her life. And this is a woman living those values, knowing she has children. And that living her values can take her away from her children. How many of us are willing to do that? How many of us are willing to live our values, even if it costs us everything? I want you to walk away from the show. And I don't want you to walk away from the show thinking about how much you don't like this person. I want you to walk away thinking, do I have the courage to live like that person? Not in sharing the same values, but the values I say I have. Am I willing? Am I willing to give up everything, including my life, for it? I'm going to answer that question honestly for myself. I don't know that I'm willing to give up my life for it, but I'm hoping to live a life that my values override my fear of losing. And I hope your values overrides your fear of losing, because that's what empathy requires of all of us. Are we willing to override our fears, even if it means losing everything, to show up for the people and the values we say we hold? I want to close the show with this. We've built a culture where words have become currency of comfort, but real empathy is expensive. It costs. It will cost you your ego. It will cost you comfort, and sometimes belonging. So before you post, before you promise or preach, I want you to ask yourself this: what am I willing to lose for the people I claim to stand with? Empathy isn't soft, it's sacrifice.
Thank you for watching Pyro Media Network. For more information, please visit pyromedianetwork.com.